What's up, my name is GLoWhNo. Welcome to another installment of Forgotten Easter Eggs. Here I will introduce you or reintroduce you to Easter eggs and games that you might have forgotten about. Today we will cover the cult classic Halo Reach, released in 2010. If you are interested, make sure to stick around till the end of the video, and if you are not, please consider checking out some of my other content here on the GLoWhNo channel. Without further ado, let's get on to the video. Before we dive into the meat of today's video, let's start by checking out some multiplayer map-specific Easter eggs. While you play through Halo, whether it be through the extensive campaign or the many beautiful maps, the one thing that remains consistently in view of the player just so happens to be the HUD or the heads-up display. Within the HUD, you will see several pieces of information imperative to a smooth gameplay experience, such as your health meter, equipment, motion sensor, and shield bar. And though these are important on their own, if you take a look to the right of the motion sensor, you will see an indicator labeling your whereabouts on the current map. And though I have to admit, most of these locations aren't very notable, but what if I told you there happen to be a few that are? First, let's head to the map Boardwalk. Depending on where you spawn, the directions to get to the location will change, so to make things more consistent, start by heading to the middlemost area of the map. Now from here, you are going to want to head to the edge of the map opposite to the rock view. You should very quickly find a triangular site with the location indicator understandably dubbed Make Out Point. Next, let's depart to the map Spire. You will find this location incredibly easy to find, as all you'll want to look for is this large purple structure right against the cliffside. As you approach, you will find the text BFG Trail followed up by BFG once you reach the inside. Now, unless you knew prior, this name has no significance. That is, only until you learn that you are standing inside of what used to be an anti-aircraft cannon, meaning BFG stands for Big Fuck Gun. Now, this might also be a reference to the popular BFG 9000, which originated in the game Doom. Wrapping up the list, let's check out the remaining two, which are more difficult to spot, starting with the map Powerhouse. Luckily, Powerhouse is not a very difficult map to traverse. As long as you know where the ravine is, you'll have no trouble. Simply, all you'll want to do is jump in, and before you die, you'll see the text Vaya con Dios, meaning go with God, a humorous remark to the fact that if you see it, you are about to die. Finally, let's check out the most difficult of the four, that being on the map Condemned. Now, in order to get to this spot, it is imperative that you play in Forge mode due to the placement of it being completely out of bounds. First, you're going to want to set up both a sender and a receiver teleporter, with the receiver being taken through the ceiling. Now, I've seen methods of this used, allowing you to walk on top of the vessel the map takes place on, but unfortunately, I was unable to make this work, so instead, we're going to have to use this frame-perfect image to witness the indicator showing the word space. While we're in Forge mode, let's take a detour over to the map Penance. Now, aside from the overwhelming amount of purple, you should also take note of the nearby waterfalls. This may be a bit time consuming, but you'll want to build some sort of bowl or platform directly in front of the middle waterfall. Now, I am completely unsure of specifically how long this will take, but eventually a barrel will drop from the sky, hopefully being caught by the platform, and you will see a grunt hanging out inside. Speaking of penance, while we are here, why not take a look at another secret located upstairs, or more specifically, the control room. Once you arrive, the first thing you'll want to do is make your way to the upper area using the staircase. Once you arrive, you'll notice a few peculiar looking machines. You'll want to pay attention to specifically the one furthest from the stairs, and hold whatever key you bound to action. You'll then notice a section of the wall in front of you open up and eject what appears to be a doll wearing armor. This is one of several secretly placed dolls scattered around the many different anniversary maps. Before I show you where the others are placed, an interesting detail I figured I would mention is that this armor set you find the doll sporting was, at least at the time, unobtainable. This helmet, referred to as the GRD or Ground Resolved Distance Helmet, was a previously cut item meant to appear alongside this update in Halo Reach, though years later it would finally be released as an unlockable within the Master Chief Collection. Now let's continue down the list of doll locations with Battle Canyon. Expectedly, this one is both incredibly easy to get to and incredibly easy to find. First, you want to take on the most difficult portion, which is making your way to the very back of Blue Team's spawn. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's a teleporter inside of red spawn that takes you directly to blue, and my response is, I forgot. So, we're taking the long route. After reaching the back of blue spawn, post yourself up right in front of the teleporter, and do what no FPS player has ever done by looking up, and you'll see it. If you want to bring him down, you can easily just shoot him or blow him up, but that's about it. For our third doll, we are going over to the map Breakneck. This one is surprisingly difficult to spot, as it is shrouded in complete darkness, but once you know where to go, it's quite easy to find. The point of interest will be the construction stairwell, which can be found right in front of red spawn. Once you reach the top of the staircase, looking up, you'll see what looks to be an unfinished tile ceiling. You're going to want to aim in this exact spot and begin firing. What should happen is either the doll will fall forwards, landing on the stairs where you can see it, or fall backwards, trapping itself, rendering it unobtainable. Next up, we are heading to the map Ridgeline. First, make your way to the cliff closest to red spawn. Now, you're going to be on the lookout for a crate which houses our doll. You'll know if you found the correct one, as it appears to be the only one unable to be modified in Forge mode. Once you've found it, all you want to do is melee the top to uncover the secret hidden inside. Wrapping up our list with the final few maps, let's go to Installation 4. This one, like the final few I will show you, is incredibly difficult to find on your own. For this, I recommend you start a firefight match with ability usage set to unlimited, as we are taking a trip out of bounds in a hostile environment. Once you spawn, make your way to the east drop zone and stand on this rock right here. All you want to do is fly in this general direction and make your way up to these rocks. As you can see, the reason this is quite difficult to reach is that you have very limited amount of time to get there and to see this doll. Unfortunately, both times I reached this location, I ended up dying shortly after, but you might have better luck than me in reaching it faster. Our second to last doll can be found in the map Solitary. This method is very similar to the one we used to reach the space indicator in Condemned. Finding this specific window on the second floor, you're going to, once again, place down a sender next to you and a receiver on the other side of the window. You will then find a doll well hidden just out of the view of the window. Finally, let's take a look at the last hidden doll on the map High Noon. This one isn't necessarily hard to acquire, as it is more hard to spot due to how far away it is. For this, you're going to want to bring a sniper rifle. I'm not sure if it's necessarily impossible to hit otherwise, but this is the easiest method. Now, you're going to aim an incredibly far distance above blue base, until you see this little guy resting on this structure. You can get him down by shooting him, but I'm not sure if he can get launched backwards out of bounds instead of forwards, similar to a previous doll, but I think this shouldn't happen. Now that we've successfully covered every single hidden doll, let's cover the final multiplayer specific Easter egg and start an assault game. Within the assault mode, you are tasked with delivering a bomb and arming it at the opposing team's base. You may not have time to notice, but if you inspect these bombs closely, there is text written on them that has a chance to show one of 4 different messages. These are, "Thus I refute thee," "Hold on to your butt," "XOXO" with a helmet, a peace sign, and a heart, and finally, "Kiss it goodbye." Okay, since we've covered multiplayer and map-specific Easter eggs, let's finish things off by covering the most in-depth, that being campaign Easter eggs. Kicking things off, let's head to the second mission of the game, Winter Contingency. To find this small Easter egg, make sure to select Rally Point Alpha and begin the countdown. Once you finish watching the lengthy cutscene and are preparing for landing, you're going to want to proceed with the mission as usual, heading to the first few objectives. As soon as you reach this building, follow these steps. Head to the rock in the corner, jump onto the pipes dead ahead, then hop onto this structure right here. Now aim down sights, and you should see a miniature skirmisher just atop this roof. While we are on the map Winter Contingency, head back to the campaign menu and change the difficulty to Legendary. This detail is very easy to miss, as you have to act very quickly, but if you happen to sprint from the drop-off point to the area where you run into a group of bipedal ostrich-like creatures, when looking closely, you should see a strange, translucent figure moving from a nearby gate. You will then have to proceed with a combination of stunning it with headshots and sprinting forward. What should happen, if you're lucky, is this guy will succumb to the attack. losing its translucent form and dropping something in the process known as a datapad. Aside from the already interesting easy-to-miss enemy, these datapads are equally interesting in their own right. Within the campaign, there are a total of 19 scattered across each level in the game, aside from the final mission. These datapads tell the story of a group known as the Assembly, which is said to be a sort of secret society involving incredibly knowledgeable artificial intelligence in charge of regulating other artificial intelligence practices and being involved in human space-related affairs. These pads also tell stories of an individual who became wise to the group and their activities. Next, we will be taking a trip to Mission 3, known as Oni Sword Base. This mission you'll find has a very fun secret hidden inside. For this to work, you will need 2 players total and to stand in 2 very specific locations. Now select Rally Point Alpha and finish the cutscene. Play through the first section until you see the objective protect exterior outposts and receive a warthog. Now, you're going to drive alongside the left trail beside a body of water and continue until you see a coast near this set of buildings. Then, you're going to have 1 player stand and look at this mountainside until you see the indicator hold E to open door. Next, you're going to drive along the trail to the right of where you received the warthog and climb this set of rocks, looking off towards a distant structure. Once you both see the indicator, hold E at the same time, and you should receive a new objective and be placed in a racing minigame where you will go head-to-head, driving around the location. Once you reach the finish line, the other player will explode and the minigame resets. For the next one, head to Mission 6, Long Night of Solace at Rally Point Charlie. This one is quite simple, as you want to progress through the mission as you would normally, up until you see the pelican shortly after deactivating the shield doors. Upon interacting with this pelican, you'll find there is no clear way to use it. If you want to though, head to the right centermost side of the pelican, crouch down, and walk against it whilst holding your interact button. What should happen is as you approach the front, you'll be forced inside of it, allowing you to control the pelican's turret. Of course, it is very apparent that there is a giant object obstructing the view of the player, but after a bit of time, it will eventually disappear. Now for the mission with the most Easter eggs, I will be covering Mission 8, New Alexandria. For this first one, you will not need a second player, but for the next 2 you will. So for now, start the mission as usual, waiting for the cutscene to end. Now, you're going to want to hop into the Falcon and make a beeline for the building with the giant green logo. Atop the building, you'll want to jump to the platform furthest from the slope and pay attention to the floor. Eventually, you will find a set of newspapers forming a smiley face. For the next one, you're going to want to invite a friend, and if you don't have one on standby, sit back and I'll take care of it for you. So, first, you are going to want to play this mission until your objective takes you to Club Herrera. Make sure to not enter, opting to take out the individuals outside and in the surrounding area for now. Once done, look around for a building with a blue symbol on it, and search around the lower portion for a pipe. You will find there is a little platform you can land on with an interactable button. The small button changes the firefight to a party, equipped with a DJ and many grunts dancing below. If you just so happen to interrupt their party, everyone will become hostile as it would normally. Now for the final Easter egg I will be covering on this mission. This will be a bit tricky and pretty extensive, so I'll try to keep it mostly brief. But you're going to want to play through the entire mission until you see the final objective, destroy all anti-air turrets. Before you begin, make sure to acquire a jetpack as it will be useful later. From here, you will travel to 2 different locations, first being a building next to the club, where you will have to fly to the uppermost section of it, on the side hidden away from the chaos. If you've gotten far enough into the mission, you should see a familiar green button on the ceiling, to which you will have to fly and smash your skull against the ceiling to press it. Now for the tricky part. You will have to put faith in your friend to keep the vehicle stable enough so that you can jetpack on top of it. Once you reach it, the plan is to wait for a Banshee to arrive, where you will then fly to that Banshee and hijack it. Just in case you miss it, your friend will also need to stay remotely below you so that you can fly back when necessary. Once you successfully acquire both vehicles, you will need to depart to the structure with a giant opening. Now, fly through the hole and you will find both the Banshee and Falcon take the forms of a pelican and a phantom. For our final few Easter eggs, let's head to Mission 9, the package at Rally Point Alpha. Similar to another Easter egg we covered, you will need 2 players positioned at 2 different locations. Proceed with the mission as you would, clearing out enemies and stopping once you finish the area harboring the Scorpion. Take a trip to the portion of the coast near rocks and have your friend stand near the edge, prepared to jump down and press a button below. Before they do this, however, make your way back to the start driving a ghost and push a secret crate out of the way. Have your friend push the button and you will see another button appear out of nowhere. After pressing, turn around and you will see 4 banshees placed atop a broken down building just behind you. Next, let's go to the same mission except at Rally Point Charlie on Legendary difficulty. Eventually, you will find yourself with the objective Defend Halsey's Lab, where you'll fight multiple waves of incredibly strong enemies, which are especially hard now that you'll be fighting them on Legendary. Essentially, there is this door on the left side of the lab. Take note of this room for now, as you will be returning here in the future. Shortly after surviving the waves, you will be prompted to enter Halsey's lab, which you will not be doing. Instead, grab a jetpack and depart to the opposite side of a nearby bridge inhabited by a wraith. After destroying it, make your way up the set of stairs and stand on the gate. Slightly below this gate, near the death barrier, there will be, you guessed it, a button which you will need to press. Once pressed, head back to the previously closed door and find that you can enter it. This is considered the tribute room, with many different monitors paying tribute to the community in the form of direct references from Halsey's point of view, like pages of text discussing Red vs. Blue, a popular series created by Rooster Teeth, a reference to one of the very first Halo videos known as Warthog Jump, a reference to the Bungie charity event Fight the Flood, and many more. We have now officially reached the final Easter egg of today's video, taking place at Mission 10, the Pillar of Autumn, at Rally Point Charlie. As you play through the mission, you will eventually reach a portion that has you hijack a cannon of sorts, shooting down enemy aircraft. After you finish destroying every one of them, a cutscene will begin to play. During this cutscene, you will see an individual landing a pelican inside of the hangar. At this very specific moment in this scene, you can move the camera. Moving the camera rapidly to the right, you will briefly see a cryopod inhabited by the one and only Master Chief. Thank you for tuning into this video, and if you enjoyed it, please consider pressing the like button down below. And if you're up to it, maybe even subscribe and comment while you're there. It helps the channel a ton. Now this video will be coming out on Christmas, so if you celebrate the holiday, I hope you have an amazing one. And if you don't, I hope you have an amazing day regardless. But before I depart, as the year is coming to a close, I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you who have supported the channel from the very first video to now. I have more than doubled in channel growth compared to last year, and I have all of you to thank for that. You all mean the world to me, even if you don't know it. Thank you for watching. Now for my favorite part of the video, thanking the amazing people you see on the screen for supporting me each and every month. And an extra thank you to Anita Cube, Floofy Goober Zach, and Funsome for purchasing the GLoWhNo consumer membership tier.